20 What the Fuck Roommate Moments. Number 20. Helped a best friend get over her drug addiction to morphine. Let said best friend move in with myself and another BFF since her mother kicked her out for coming out of the closet. We actually got a 3-bedroom townhouse because of this since, we are good people and all and would not let our best friend get stuck on the streets over a closed-minded mother. She moves in, kicks the drugs. We gave her 2 conditions. Number 1, cut the contact with all your druggy friends. Number 2, get a job that allows you to work at least 30 hours per week. She did both and completely turned her life and health around with our aid, to which she would constantly tell friends how much we changed her life for the better. Now, how does she repay us? Meets a new girlfriend at work who was a customer, moves to New York with her and dips out on the rent. Tells our landlord we all agreed to let her off a roommate addendum and we would find another roommate for her. Well, luckily our landlord believed our word that she just bailed on us. Even after all this BS, we gave her a chance by coming up with a payment plan so she could repay us without taking her to court. The moment we were going to meet at the bank to get the document notarized, she calls asking to lower the monthly amount of $300 to $150. And when we said no, since we knew she could easily afford the $300, she hung up and skipped town again. End result, I took her to court for $3,000 in funds she racked up for the 3 months of her portion of the rent and bills that she had to pay. We won, and I have not spoken to her since. She lives with her mother again since the relationship with the New York girl failed miserably. There's so much more, but that's the gist of it. Emily, fuck you and your victimized attitude. Fuck you for always looking for a handout, and fuck you for screwing over your 2 best friends who actually gave a damn about you over your own family. I hope people see you through your shit. Took me 8 years to. Never again. Whoa, that one was kinda loaded. Number 19. My college roommate was, unfortunately, a naive girl who didn't 100% understand the ways of the world, or apparently the concept of a second deadbolt on the front door. We didn't live in the sketchiest neighborhood, but we still had a front door, 2 deadbolts. One where you could open it from the outside, and one where you couldn't, to hopefully prevent break-ins. My roommate, however, decided that it was a lock me out of the apartment button. Not because she disliked me, we got along fine, but because she would routinely come back to the apartment and lock both deadbolts, knowing full well I wasn't home. The worst one was when I called her about half an hour before I got home, checked with her that only one of the deadbolts was locked, proceeded to drive home, got to the apartment, and I'm locked out. So I bang on the door. No answer. Call her phone. No answer. I'm essentially locked out of my own fucking apartment because of my roommate's stupidity. I ended up sleeping at a friend's that night. She was super apologetic afterwards, but we didn't fucking last long as roommates after that. I may have embellished all of that. Number 18. My roommate had a few Fresca cans in the fridge, and I didn't really like the stuff, so I never touched it. But I had a friend who was chilling out and asked for a drink. I told him to grab something from the fridge, and he comes back with a Fresca can. Doesn't drink it right away, and then we went to do something else. A few days later, my roommate is freaking out and is saying he thinks we got robbed. I start freaking out too. He's tearing apart the room looking for something, and I offer to help. He goes, "Did you take one of my Fresca cans?" I forgot about my friend taking one, so I said no. Like, it's just a soda can, what's the big deal? Turns out each of those cans was a fake can, turned into a drug stash, and he was storing tabs of acid, marijuana, and cocaine in these little fake-ass cans. I think back to my friend hanging out, and I panic and was like, follow me. So my roommate and I run around campus looking for my friend, and then we find him with the can in his book bag, saving it for later. We pretty much tackle him and take the can. I'm just like, dude, I'll explain later. And we run off. My roommate screws open the can and looks inside to make sure all his drugs are in there. A small bag full of tabs of acid are in there. Tabs that my friend didn't know he was carrying around our college campus. Tabs that I didn't know were in my fucking fridge. Yeah, my roommate's cool, but that shit was not. Number 17. I had a friend over playing some video games and he literally walked into the room as if we didn't exist, turned on some porn, put on headphones, and masturbated. He 100% knew we were there too. Also, he had Tourette's. Well, I guess he gets a free pass. Not that this is like related to Tourette's, but just because cock shit ass penis vagina. Let's keep moving. Number 16. My first year in college, there wasn't enough room at the dorms to accommodate everyone. College of Charleston, South Carolina, late 80s, early 90s, irrelevant. So I lived in an apartment campus off campus. A campus off the campus. My roommate was a nice guy, seemed fairly normal, and things seemed great. Exactly 6 days later, I was playing Sega, and there was a knock on the door. About 10 police officers asked if they could enter the premises after explaining it had nothing to do with me. Never trust the police, nigga. Come back with a warrant. Just kidding, sorry. They asked me which bedroom was my roommate's and if they could search it. I obliged, and they went in and found 14 pounds of marijuana on a baking sheet in his closet. They seized the pot, left, and I never saw my roommate again. And you didn't get any of the weed either? Jesus. A few weeks later, his brother showed up and packed up all his stuff. It was a strange start to my college life. Wow. What is this, like 15? It's probably 15. Probably 15. My roommate is a teacher. She has 2 cats. And basically, I'm renting the extra room in her leased house from her. She knew I wanted a dog, so she texted me one day that I should get a dog. I do some research, find a family that wants someone to take theirs, then I have a dog. I fell in love with this sweet boy. He was well-trained, cuddly, helped me with my depression, and all around just amazing. She left for winter break, and I got the cats used to him where they were always around each other and living fine. She comes back from her break and is convinced that he is stressing them out, so she would lock him in my room without food or water while I was at work. I would come home and he had thrown up without water, and she just left it there. Now, I know giving him water would be my responsibility, but I take care of her cats. I would also go visit him almost every lunch break I got. It got to the point where my roommate got very abusive, and I realized I needed to either move or give up the dog. Then, the family I got him from immediately regretted giving him up. He was the bomb, so I gave it back to them. I still miss him to this day and have some resentment towards my roommate since it was her idea for me to have the dog in the first place. Edit. When I say abusive, I mean vocally. Good. We don't want another Colby situation on our hands. And here's a picture of the puppy. Ugh, picture will probably be up like the whole fucking video. I'm just going to save it right now and then edit what I'm saying out of the video. But maybe it would be extra comedy to actually leave it in. But that's, it's going to piss somebody off at the same time. Man, that's probably like the best part is that leaving this thing and not editing it out would piss somebody off. So I guess I'm going to have to leave it in, huh? And if you're getting pissed off by it, you're why I left it in. Number 14. Where the fuck do I begin? Moved in with some schoolmates who went to the uni in the same city as me. All was good for about a week. The house wasn't great to begin with, so they used that as an excuse to do whatever the fuck they wanted. They would throw bottles at the walls, causing holes, smashed the toilet cistern, played drums until 4 a.m., partied until 6 a.m. when I had to get up at 6 to go to some uni trip to spend all day digging up a body in the summer heat in some field. What? Poured their leftover noodles and rice in the fucking sink and tried to wash it down like 5 times a week, so there was constant wet noodles and rice in there. We're so incredibly filthy in the kitchen that we had slugs in our cupboards and rats and maggots in our bin bags, drew on the walls, doors, cupboards and stuff, left the bath on so the kitchen ceiling collapsed, borrowed all my kitchen stuff and left it out and refused to wash it so I'd have to if I wanted to eat or drink. They'd leave chicken bones on the kitchen room floor, so much more. But the worst thing in my opinion, was when I went home for Christmas with the idea of possibly moving out. They broke into my room, which was locked, threw everything around, tore up loads of paper and stuff and threw it on the ground, tore up my light shade, and thought it would be a great idea for a bunch of 6-foot-plus guys to wear my 5-foot girlfriend's clothes and mine, but that was less of an issue. I decided then that yeah, I was moving out. Then I found out afterwards that they had some other mates of mine over and told them that I was the one causing the mess, complaining but never cleaning after myself, which was horseshit. I cleaned after myself and those fuckers extensively. And so my friends thought for a while that I was the unreasonable one. Went back to get the last of my stuff a few months later, and it was genuinely like a Brazilian slum, insanely filthy, and after they moved out, the owner boarded up the house. And it's no longer in use. Ooh. Number 13. Dirty, filthy monster. He stole my towel for himself, and I thought he'd lost it or threw it away. He moved out and didn't take any of his belongings or tidy his room, so we cleaned it out ourselves. There behind his bed was my poor towel, with mushrooms growing out of it. If Reddit's taught us anything, he's been coming on that towel. Number 12. One day, one of my 7 roommates in college brought home some baby squirrels that he had found on the sidewalk. I begged him to take them to an animal shelter or the Humane Society or something, as our house was no place for small animals, and we already had a rodent problem. Within a day, another one of my roommates had found the box with the baby squirrels in it and thrown it off the balcony of the house into the field next door. I don't know why the hell he did this, but what ensued was an absolute shit show, which involved a fist fight, followed by a bunch of people scouring the field with flashlights looking for what turned out to be the corpses of baby squirrels. Oh no. Edit. After thinking about this for some time, the justification that the guy who threw them out gave was that he thought that the guy who had brought them in was torturing them, or else they were dead and he would just be keeping them around because he was a fucking weirdo. Either one of these would have been believable. This is pretty much the only reason that we didn't try to kick him out of the house. Man. Number 12. Had a lady friend over and my roommate burst in while we were in bed, announcing that she had burnt something in the kitchen and the entire flat was to gather in my room until the acrid smell had cleared from the kitchen. She then got into bed and starfished in between us. What kind of cock-blocking wannabe bullshit slut ass? I also lived with one of my best friends who does possess social skills. He realized how awkward it was after laughing for 10 minutes and suggested that everyone leave. Edit. I'm certain it wasn't because the roommate had feelings for me because we disliked each other. I don't think it was an attempted cockblock either. It's just another what the fuck moment. Yeah, from another autistic Asperger's. Yeah, come on. Some people just don't get it. They're just that stupid and they don't get it and they probably never will. And it's a shame, but you know, life goes on. Number 11. My wife's college roommate would trim her pubes in their dorm room sink and not even rinse them down the drain. Wow. Puby drain. She would trim her toenails on the floor and not vacuum. She would never wash her dishes. Well, my wife's dishes that she used. One time, she got the stomach flu and wouldn't even try to make it to the restroom. She just bought diapers. They have actually made those kinds of, oh my god, and shit herself. Edit. My wife did her laundry because she didn't know how. The theory was her mom used to do it all, so she didn't understand. I talked to my wife. She also peed her bed and didn't wash her sheets for a substantial amount of time afterwards. Oh damn. Oh damn. Number 9. After I moved out, the boyfriend-girlfriend tried to stick me with a $350 cable bill that was all porn charges. The 2 cable boxes in the apartment were in the living room and his bedroom. I had internet in my room. Ugh. Guess he didn't want to tell his girlfriend he had a porn problem. Oh, okay. Number 8. Not super what the fuck, but I'm a freshman right now and my roommate is a grad student. The first week of classes he invited me to a get-together out of town that was supposed to be a barbecue with fun games and shit. I drove 3 hours with him to what really ended up being a fucking Amway conference where I had to sit through another 4 hours of these tards literally giving tearful speeches about how Amway made their fucking life amazing. Amway is a pyramid scheme for people who don't know. It's the fucking worst. That, and I had tons of people there ask me what I thought of the conference so they could try to indoctrinate me. Suffice to say, I don't like my roommate. There you go. Number 7. Vegan roommate left a dead lizard on the kitchen bench in case we wanted it. Not to eat it, just in general. This was a very strange thing. Man, Asperger's is alive in this thread. Number 6. I'd only been in the house for a week and it was me, 22-year-old female, and 2 other guys. One of them was fine, he kept to himself, but the other was generally really creepy. One of the weirder things he did, as soon as he heard either my bedroom door or the front door open, he would rush out of his room and place himself at the top of the stairs. My room is right at the top of the stairs, just FYI. Anyway, I would try to go either up or down the stairs and he wouldn't budge, so I'd have to squeeze myself between him and the banister, properly rub up against him basically. Excuse me and please move didn't work. It was as if he just didn't hear me. And then he'd often say something like, "You go out just like that? I'm a jeans and t-shirt sort of girl." Or he'd say, "You have lovely hair." It was just a bit odd, but I only stayed for 3 weeks before moving. This guy made me feel so uncomfortable. Rightfully so. Number 6. She was psychotic, and one of those, if I detailed all the reasons why we think she's crazy, it'd make us seem crazy kind of way, but there was enough hard evidence. Anyway, long story short, she went behind our backs trying to change our lease to 6 months in her name without telling us. When we found out, we sat her down to tell her that that's not okay, and we don't want to live with her anymore. And she starts the conversation with, "I'm pregnant." I lost it. I said, "Someone has to be having sex with you in order for that to happen. No one believes you." Told her to move, and she refused, so we did. She's 38 years old. Oh, there you go. There's your answer right there. Number 5. I met this girl at a club in college. It was going very well, and she wanted to come back to my place. I thought, sweet, my first one-night stand. So I check and the RA is nowhere, and we sneak in. I open the door, and there on the shared couch is my roommate passed out with the TV on, which happens to be playing hentai. That's Japanese porn. Here's where it gets interesting. His pants and nut huggers were down around his ankles, and he had what I assumed to be shit smeared on his face, chest, and dick. The girl I came back with freaks out. He wakes up and scrambles to cover himself. Awkwardness ensues, and the girl decides to leave. Yeah, I'm afraid that was her stop. The next morning, as I'm getting ready to go out, I find a discarded king-size Snickers bar wrapper at the bottom of the couch. I don't know exactly what happened, but I have a couple of ideas. 1, he fucked a candy bar. 2, he was eating a candy bar and became overwhelmingly enticed by anime titties and got a little carried away. I requested a new roommate. Number 4, I found my roommate after he had hung himself in our backyard. Damn. Number 3, we didn't get along very well, but once when he got really sick, I decided I'd extend an olive branch and make a meal for him. When he came into the kitchen to eat, I began dishing up the food and presented his plate to him at the table. He stared at it blankly and then said, "Did that serving spoon touch the countertop?" I said, "Yeah." He stood up, walked over to the garbage, and dumped the whole thing in the trash and walked back to his room. Damn, son. Where'd you find this? Number 2. Rather than clean a truly horrifying 2-month-old crock pot full of chili he made, he put duct tape around the rim and stuffed it under his couch? What the Number 1. Bring it on home. A roommate knocked a hole in my wall by showing me how he almost knocked a hole in my wall. Yeah. There's that video. And it only took 20 fucking minutes. Like, what do you have going on where you have this just playing in the background? You're not paying attention to this video. It's just like background noise for you, you know? And I'm worried about where my next pizza is gonna come from, you know? You guys, I'll see you tonight.